This is the CT scan which nobody wants to see. Large middle cerebral artery infarct, M1 occluded. So this is just to see that the outcome of this patient usually will be very bad. Dense hemiplegia, aphasia, or even death. But what will happen if both MCAs are occluded chronically? Should the outcome be that bad? This was a case which was sent to me by Dr. Alex Baby, neurologist, for discussion and opinion. Let's dive deep into the case. 60 years, male, hypertension on treatment, sudden onset drooling of saliva from the left side of the face associated with swaying while walking to the left side. He has mild facial paresis and power is left on the left upper limb is 4 plus by 5, echo is normal. Stroke is essentially a disease affecting the blood vessels of the brain. It's a vascular disease. So let's try to look at the vascular abnormality first and then look at the MR and the CT scan, which is essentially a post-mortem. It is the dead tissue we are looking at. Let's try to analyze and study what is the vascular abnormality which is there in this particular patient. The first slide which I showed you was just for an introduction. That is not the CT scan of this patient. Don't get confused. So this is the MR angio of this patient. By convention, this is the right side and this is the left side. It is like the patient lying on the gantry facing up. So this is the left side and this is the right side. Easiest way is to follow one vessel at a time so that we will not get confused between different vessels. This is the right internal carotid artery, petrous segment in the petrous canal. This is the cavernous segment and divides into. Now reaching here, you follow this vessel alone. This is the middle cerebral artery and this is the anterior cerebral artery. The anterior cerebral artery comes like this. This is the A1 segment. Here it joins with there is an anterior communicating artery which joins with the opposite ACA, anterior cerebral artery, and the rest continues as the A2 or the distal ACA. This is the middle cerebral artery, M1, and it divides into two branches which you can faintly see. If you look carefully, you can see that there is minimal narrowing here. The distal branches are very, very faintly seen. It divides into a lower division and upper division, which is faintly seen. So it's not an acute occlusion, but looks like a chronic occlusion. Slowly it has got occluded. There is a diffuse narrowing. Look at the opposite internal carotid artery. This area, as I told before, it's an artifact. Petrous segment, cavernous segment, this is also an artifact because of bone. Divides into two. Middle cerebral artery, anterior cerebral artery. Continues as the anterior distal ACA, and this is the M1. So look at this vessel alone. I'll come to which vessel is seen behind that, but concentrate on this vessel alone. This area is chronically narrow. The distal branches are faintly seen. So it's not an abrupt cutoff. It is irregularly abnormal and slowly getting occluded. So the conclusion is both M1s are irregularly narrow and occluded. So bilateral M1 occlusion, distal M1 occlusion, not proximal. It is not occluded here, but distally at the region of bifurcation. Coming to the posterior circulation, this is the vertebral artery, quite large, turns around, and this is the distal V4 segment of the vertebral artery. You can see that it is significantly narrow, and the caliber of the vertebral artery is significantly narrow here. The opposite vertebral artery is very small. You don't see it at all. It is hypoplastic. Basilar artery is okay. Look carefully, you can see that. Let's try to enlarge it a bit. This is the superior cerebellar artery. This is the posterior cerebral artery which comes like this, turns like this, goes. You can see it going behind the middle cerebral artery and turns like that. This is it seems that it's quite big. That means that it might be supplying more areas than the PCA. On this side, you don't see the P1, but you can see the posterior cerebral artery clearly behind this. That means it is not arising from the basilar artery, but arising from the carotid artery. So this is the posterior communicating artery connecting the internal carotid artery to the posterior cerebral artery. So this is otherwise called fetal posterior cerebral artery, fetal PCA. A posterior cerebral artery which is directly arising from the internal carotid artery. So here actually the P1, the initial segment of posterior cerebral artery is almost absent. Now we'll go to the next lateral view. You can see the carotid artery, the posterior communicating artery here, supplying the PCA. Basilar is okay. Vertebral is significantly narrow and there is a tight stenosis here in the vertebral artery. You can see that there is areas which are here which we'll come to later. So there is quite a lot of vascularity. The posterior subclavian is quite big and supplying areas more than the PCA territory. Now coming to the arch of aorta, the MR angio is not a good evaluation to evaluate the arch, but still you can see the arch of aorta. On the right side is the right brachiocephalic trunk. This is the subclavian brachiocephalic trunk and the right common carotid artery which is going up. This is the external carotid artery which is medial and the internal carotid artery which is lateral. Coming from above, you can see the internal carotid artery like this. It actually takes a loop here and then comes like this. So if you don't follow one vessel at a time, it can be confusing. This is the vertebral artery arising from the subclavian artery. The origin is not clearly seen, but you can see a large vertebral artery coming like this. It goes like this and turns, comes medially, and there is a diffuse narrowing. So there is a significant narrowing of the, you can see that, significant narrowing of the distal vertebral artery, and the opposite vertebral artery is very small, very, very small. Carotid bifurcation, original is okay. There is no significant. Lateral view is okay. So in conclusion, the MR angio shows bilateral MR occlusion, hypoplastic or aplastic left small vertebral artery. Right vertebral artery is V4 segment is significantly narrow with a tight narrowing. There is a fetal PCA. Now let's look at the postmortem. Joking. This is actually it's a postmortem. When you look at an MR, what we see, even though it looks very glaring, we try to analyze. This is the dead tissue which we are looking. It's actually a postmortem study. So that concept should be ingrained in the minds of all of us. That the pathology is not this. This is the end result of the problem. Even though both middle subtle arteries are occluded, the vertebral artery is tightly narrow. This is the only dead tissue which is seen. You can see a very circumscribed subcortical infarct. There is a small infarct here also, but no cortical infarcts. No significant cortical infarct. It's only a subcortical infarct. You can see that very well. The questions that needs to be answered are, Dr. Alex wanted to know about this. Is DSA a must for this patient? What is optimal treatment regimen? In future, if this patient presents with hyperacute stroke in the MCA territory, will mechanical thrombectomy be helpful? Instead of directly jumping into all the trying to find the answers, let's have a look at how he is surviving. He has two MCAs which is occluded. So if the MCA is occluded here, the anterior cerebral artery will try to give blood to the MCA territory through what is called a pile collateral. So through the pile collaterals of the anterior cerebral artery, blood reaches the MCA territory and tries to fill this area. Now the pile collaterals works in two ways. One, the MCA is occluded, so the pile collaterals from the anterior cerebral artery comes and tries to supply this area. The pile collaterals from the PCA territory also tries to come supply this area and maintain this area. If the endothelial function is good, there is no collateral failure, this will be good, the patient will be fine. If there is an endothelial dysfunction because of significant hypotension, chronic hypoxia or other factors, the collaterals will fail and the MCA territory infarct will be large. So this brings in the concept of what is called watershed infarct. When there is plenty, there is enough blood going everywhere. But when there is a stenosis, blood is not adequate, the border zone areas which is between two zones will get affected and get infarcted. So this is a picture which I think most of you would have seen. This is the external watershed infarct, ACA MCA, PCA MCA. But today we'll concentrate on the deep watershed infarct which is shown in red. So this is the deep internal watershed infarcts, superficial and deep. So this is the internal border zone between the lenticulostriate and the middle subtle artery territory. To understand it much better, this is one diagram which has not been discussed much in strokes meetings. So when you look at the pile vessels, it has got three types of pile vessels. One is the intracortical branch, which supplies the cortex, subcortical branch, and the deep medullary branch, which runs longitudinally deep into the brain matter. And there are the basal perforators, which is the medial lenticular striate, lateral lenticular striate, and the Hugoenus artery, which are the deep basal perforators, and the insular arteries, which are again medullary arteries going deep into the brain tissue. Another image which shows the same thing: the intracortical, subcortical, medullary, insular, deep medullary branches, and the basal perforators. So essentially, infarcts can occur in the subcortical tissue in four types. One is a chronic hypotension, orthostatic hypotension, etc., which produces a chronic ischemia in this area, producing what is called a ischemic leukoareosis. The other type is the medullary arteries, which are longitudinally going deep, gets occluded, producing deep longitudinal infarcts like this, which is seen in the subcortical tissue in different cuts. The third type is ICS stenosis or M1 stenosis, producing watershed infarcts in the deep cortical territory. This is what we have seen in our case. And fourth, the other type is one of the cortical vessel or the intracortical, subcortical one vessel gets occluded because of an embolism, producing a territorial infarct. So let's stop today, not too much of discussion today. We'll try to find the answers for this question tomorrow. So see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the answers to this particular case. Thank you. See you tomorrow.